Welcome to Tech Talk with WSU Tech, where we dive into all things WSU Tech and highlight the voices within our college community. I'm Dr. Sheree Utash, and today we have the honor of chatting with Teresa Seymour. Welcome. Glad you're here.
Thanks, Sheree.
So we always like to kick this off by you introducing yourself, telling us a little bit about your role and how you serve the mission of the college.
Yeah, so I am Teresa Seymour. I'm the Executive Director of Finance here at WSU Tech. And as serving the mission of the college, we kind of handle the financial sustainability of the college. That's our strategic plan goal that we always focus on. So making sure that, we're in compliance with things, that we're being good financial stewards of the money we have in our possession, and just making sure that everything's running smoothly at that side of the table.
So I don't know whether everybody really understands, but I certainly understand how absolutely important the role of the finance group is to the college.
Sure.
And how important having financial sustainability is for any organization. And so when I think about this, talk a little bit about how your team supports the college, because you are a support system of everything that we do, and you touch everything we do.
Absolutely, yeah. We are a support system, and even though we're not, student facing, we pride ourselves on making sure we're following that strategic plan and that mission of the college. So, the finance does a myriad of roles. So, we have our day-to-day kind of functions, making sure bills get paid, making sure employees get paid, making sure transactions, daily transactions are getting recorded correctly. We have more of our kind of monthly focus goals, making sure that, everything is reconciling, all that stuff that we've done throughout the month, that it's in there correctly and making sure that's maintained. And then making sure we have financial statements every month so that when we present to the board or something, they have good information in front of them, so they can make decisions if they need to. And we also have kind of a compliance role, so making sure that people are following our policies.
Mm-hmm.
As most people know, we have an audit every year, so making sure that when we have that audit come our way, we want to make sure that we are in compliance and have no comments or finding like we had for the last several years, which I'm very proud of our team about. And then, we have a budget role. We have that kind of role on it. And then also we provide a lot of data to help support ideas and decisions and things like that. So that's kind of our other role, is to make sure that people have in their hands good decision-making data so that they can have those big ideas and make them happen.
So, I know recently you've been really working a lot on the bond issue.
Yeah.
And creating the information that we need for that. That's been a high learning curve for all of us,
For all
right?
of us, yeah.
So talk a little bit about what your role in that has been.
Yeah, so I came from public accounting, so I had a little bit of experience with bonds and doing it on the audit side. So actually issuing a bond was a little bit new, but I had that perspective. But yeah, doing a bond is it's such a cool learning experience. I know people say finance, it's not that cool, but it is pretty cool to learn kind of how that stuff works and what all goes into it. Making sure that they have the data again within the college, how we think we're going to have these programs go, and what kind of finances they're going to bring in, and just telling the story of the college and what we want to be and how that bond money can support us in that respect. So yeah, the finance piece, just a piece of the puzzle. We have our lawyers and all that other fun stuff, but just really making sure that the data is sound that we have, so that when we do go out for bond, people that want to invest in us, they know what we're about.
Which is historic making work.
Absolutely.
At WSU Tech.
Yeah.
Because nobody's done this before.
Nobody has ever done a bond at a technical college in Kansas, so it is very exciting to see that happen.
So we're laying groundwork for not only for us, but for other institutions throughout the state of Kansas.
Yeah.
And that's really cool. And it has been a huge learning process.
Definitely.
I will agree with you on that. You talked about being, part of. We all know that you're part of the budget, and we all know that
Sure.
you drive the budget.
Yep.
Your area of operations. What's that process like? And how do you adapt when unexpected things pop up? Which I know they do.
No, never. They never pop up. No, the budget process is a pretty collaborative process at WSU Tech, and I can say from talking to other colleges, I have a few other colleagues that they do budget work as well, and we are very collaborative and we dive very deeply into our budget. So, kind of our budget season, it starts somewhere in the fall, late fall, where we're thinking about those big ideas. we need to get those front of mind, make sure that we have plans for those for the next fiscal year if we decide to go ahead and do that. But really, it gets going in January when we start making those revenue projections. So we have credit hours are starting to figure out where they're going to be at, where the state dollars are going to come in. So we kind of build the budget with the revenue side in mind and then go to the expense side. So once we kind of have that revenue figured out, then we think back again about those budget initiatives. And one of the cool things that I think WSU Tech does is because we want to be so collaborative, we take those out into different committees. So I go out, talk to PAC, the student committees. I talk to the faculty committees about these budget initiative ideas that we have so they can see them and prioritize them. Say, hey, this is something we think is really cool for the college. Go forth and conquer on that. So getting that information, again, so that leadership can make those good decisions about, what we're going to do for the next fiscal year. So after we kind of do all that, we do what I have heard is your favorite meeting, the budget blitz meetings. So that's where we kind of talk through the entire budget. So every person that has a budget, everybody, every department, every program director, we make a meeting with them. So there's a good 3 weeks of solid meetings where we talk with everybody about their budgets. We say, what did you do last year? What are your plans for next year? And go line by line and get very detailed about what's going to happen for that next fiscal year. So they have a voice in what our budget looks like too. So once we kind of run through all those meetings, we get a rough draft, bring that to the leadership team and kind of talk through that. What budget initiatives are we going to do for the next year? Kind of get that final picture. And then finally in June, we'll take that to the board where they'll do their final approval. And then we get to have a couple months off.
And then you start it
and
all
then we
over
do
again.
it all over again. So yeah, our budget season ends and our year-end season starts with our audits and things like that. So we obviously have a little bit of a cycle, but yeah, it's a good process. And I appreciate the process because it really makes me understand everything throughout the college. Like I said, we're kind of in the back, behind the scenes kind of thing. So we don't always get out there and see everything. So these meetings really give us an opportunity. Hey, what are you doing? That sounds cool. Hey, can I help with that? Kind of get us in front of some of those ideas.
Is that a unique budgeting process, do you think?
I think it is. I think from what I've heard, a lot of people say, here's last year's budget. What do you want for next year? Just send an email or give them a piece of paper and, don't get into the weeds with people and really understand what they need their dollars for, what they're going to use them for, and how it's going to support our students.
Sure. So we have this culture of trying to get to yes when we come up with ideas. I want you to share with everybody that's listening how you kind of weigh the opportunities versus the risk when we're in those conversations.
Yeah,
because we don't always get to yes. Sometimes we do. But for good reason, sometimes we get to no.
Yep. Sometimes we have to say no, and that's okay. That's okay if we do. But I think the 3 pillars you always bring up, if it's good for the students, if it's good for the institution employees, and if it's good for the community. So we in finance take that to heart too while we're thinking through all these decisions. You have a big idea. That's great. Let's put some pen to paper. Let's get some numbers behind it. Let's see if it's a viable solution to what we're doing. If it is, great. Let's go forth and let's figure it out. Like I'm working with some of the Shark Tank people, and that's so exciting. That's so cool to see all those ideas come to light and us being able to say, okay, that's a cool idea. Maybe think about this for your finances. Can you do some grants? Can you use our federal work studies for some student employees? So having us in the conversation to have those ideas and how that can help the college overall.
So how do you and your team manage your responsible decision making when we look at future growth?
So, our team is always we've got the behind the scenes, the day-to-day, but we're always trying to get good data in front of people. That's how we kind of manage the growth and good growth of the college. We do a lot of different things. We have, our program margin analysis so people can see how their programs are doing. If they, want to have a new faculty or something kind of in the smaller range, we help with that. And if there's a big idea like the NCAT expansion, we do the data behind that to try and help with that. But our team getting feedback and getting those ideas and just, making sure that we have open communication for those throughout the college, that we're here to help. We want to get those big ideas working too. So let's collaborate. Let's figure something out.
So in the last 16 years, our budget's moved from $16 million to, I believe, this year it's going to be over 60?
It's going to be over 60, I think, is where it's heading right now. So, yeah.
It'll be just north of 60.
Yeah.
And it was 16 million
Yeah.
16 years ago.
It's a lot of growth.
It's a lot of growth, but it's a lot of managing of dollars,
For
too.
sure.
How do you do that?
Have a great team. The finance department team, I just can't speak highly enough of them. And they have the goal of the college in mind as well. We all have that kind of goal of the college's mind as well. But we have processes. We have good processes in place. Definitely things that we can fix. There's so much new technology out there.
Mm-hmm.
So we're always kind of trying to look at that and see how that can maybe help with our efficiencies and things like that. Talking to our, academic coordinators and the people that we really interact with the most, seeing if there's more efficient ways that we can do things and make their life easier so that they can do what they need to do with student success and helping students. But yeah, it is a big change in budget, but dollars are dollars. So we just try to do the best we can, making sure that, we're spending those with, good stewardship and good ideas, which a lot of people at WSU Tech have really cool ideas. And that's the reason we have all that growth is because of those good ideas.
And it is getting to that, yes, when we can.
Yeah, definitely.
As best we can. And that's okay. And
Yeah.
I'm good with that. I know that. I have great respect for all of the finance team and all the work that everybody does to guide the decisions of the college. What do you wish that more people at the college knew about the work that you do in your team?
Yeah. So what I wish they knew. So we, provide the data and all that good stuff, but we are a customer service kind of team. So we're kind of one of those kind of support teams. So I want people to know that we are open to help them. We want to help them get better. We want them to do their job efficiently. We're not trying to have processes in place that are just annoying just to have them in place. A lot of those processes are for compliance, for audits and things like that, but they can come to us when they need help with something. We want to be there for them to make those great ideas happen, but also just the day-to-day stuff. So how to do a Chrome River report, how to do a pro forma, stuff like that. You can contact anyone in the finance team and we can get you pointed in a direction that we can help. So sometimes I think we get a little kind of lost in the shuffle, but just know that we are there and available to help. So please contact us and we'll help any way we can.
So I know that everybody would notice if they didn't get paid. I know that
Sure.
many people would notice if we didn't pay our bills.
Sure.
But I also know how much more expansive your group is.
Yeah.
And for all the work that you do, from the budget to the audit, and I want to stop at the audit just for a minute. This is your time to tell everybody, why is it important to have a clean audit?
Yeah, so having a clean audit. So being an auditor, I love the audits and stuff like that. So it some people think it's like, they're going to come, they're going to talk to us, they're going to dig into us. They're not doing that. They're trying to prove us right. They're showing that our numbers are good numbers. We know what we're doing and everything like that. So having a good audit, it gets you federal dollars. It's all about grants. You have to give your audits to anytime you're applying for a grant, almost anytime you're applying for a grant, your audit is going to be a piece of that. The state, we get a lot of state dollars coming in. If they see that we're not in compliance or doing things not in a correct way, they might say, hey, that's not what we want with our dollars, so we need to cut back those things. So it really is about making sure that we're being good stewards of that money, so that during our audit, we can say, hey, this is how we do it. This is how our approval process works. This is why we are good stewards of this money. So you can trust us to do the right thing with these dollars. So that's the big thing, though, is the grant funding is if you have a bad audit report, you're never going to get any more grant money.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And also from a donor standpoint.
Many
donors
foundation,
look at, from the foundation, many donors look at our audit report to
Absolutely.
make sure that it's good. Think about the investor portfolio we just
Sure.
turned in. If we'd had
For the bond, yep.
Nobody'd be looking at investing
Absolutely
in that.
not. So it's something like that where you have a good audit report. Maybe you don't have to go out and get a rating because that audit report is so strong. We don't have to incur that extra cost to go out to Moody's and get a rating like some other colleges might. We have such a strong audit report in that respect. So,
what's a memorable moment for you and your team since you came to WSU Tech?
Oh man, memorable moments. Good or bad?
Either one.
I mean, we had some fun stuff happen this summer where our team really had to pull together, and just the amount of teamwork that it took to make sure people got paid, make sure that everyone did what they needed to do just to make sure that the college was still functioning was just one of the most awesome things I've ever seen. It just shows how much people are engaged with this college and what we do for students. And then I think the other thing is just, man, the Super Bowl, the graduation. Again, finance is behind the scenes. We don't get to see students and their faces. We'll go to signing days. We'll go to kind of tours and stuff like that. But watching the graduation and just being there as they get their diploma and their families' faces, it's just such a bucket filler for all of finance. And I always encourage my team to go to graduation to see that so that you get some of that, front of mind. This is what it's for. This is what we're doing this all for. So, yeah.
So I want to thank you for your leadership. I want to thank you and your team for all that they do to make sure that we are financially stable and secure and that we're building to the future.
Yeah.
So that we can continue to do the good, great work that we do and take those big ideas and make them a reality. So
Absolutely.
thank you for coming on
Absolutely.
today. Appreciate it very
Thank you
much.
for having me.
Thank you for tuning into Tech Talk with WSU Tech. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And until next time, stay connected and keep exploring the incredible work that's happening right here at WSU Tech.